Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Nerdy Movie News Roundup, the show where we round up all of the latest news in the world of nerdy movies. Today we got a bunch of stories to talk about today, so let's just jump right into it. First up, this week there was a trailer for Invincible, Season 2. It was an official trailer, I believe. The other one that came out was a teaser. And it looks great. It looks like more Invincible, which is definitely not a bad thing. I absolutely love the first season. I have read the comic book. I'm a bit hazy on like the middle part of it. I feel like I have more memories of how it ended. So I recognize all the villains, and I'm like, I think I know where this stuff goes. But Angstrom Levy, for example, the sort of multiverse traveling or universe traveling villain that they showed off in the trailer, I'm like, I think I remember how his story goes, but I'm also just a little hazy on it. So yeah, I'm excited to jump into the second season. I really think the only part that I'm not super excited about is Amber, just because they really butchered that character in the show. I actually remember I reread the comic book after the first season, and because I don't know why, for whatever reason, as I was watching the show, I was like, oh yeah, Amber kind of sucks. And then I reread the comic book, and I was like, wait, Amber in the comic is actually a really cool character. So I don't know. Hopefully they're able to redeem her in the second season, but just her just being there made me upset. I'm like, you don't deserve Mark, okay? But yeah, we'll see. Still super excited. All right, first story of the day. Looks like there might be a Kick-Ass reboot. It's coming from CBR. It's a quote from Matthew Vaughn, the director of the first two Kick-Ass movies. Big update that we're going to start filming Kick-Ass the Reboot, Vaughn explained. He further teased, which is like nothing that's ever been done on film before, which is very, very exciting. So he's saying that they're going to film it. Kind of weird for the director of the initial franchise to come back for the reboot. I feel like that usually doesn't happen. I can't immediately think of another example. So I guess he has an interesting idea that's compelling him to want to come back to it. Him saying that it's like nothing that's ever been done on film before. It's okay, dude. That's probably just not true. But I don't know. I do think that Kick-Ass was kind of ahead of its time, and now where franchises like The Boys and Invincible, sort of these sort of more edgier takes on superheroes are flourishing. Kick-Ass was kind of the first one that did it, I feel like, unless, James Gunn's older movies like Super came out before Kick-Ass. I honestly don't remember. But I feel like Kick-Ass could definitely work today. But yeah, we'll see how they do it. Next story. We have some pictures of the Netflix Avatar series. There should be a picture here in the window there, but there isn't, so hopefully the other pictures are working. There we go. Okay, here is Fire Lord Ozai. So this is played by the Doctor from The Good Doctor, if you remember that meme. So there he is. I think he looks really cool. We don't have Azula. Let me see if I can pull up Azula. I swear this was done before I started recording. God damn it. Where is the picture? Okay, here we go. There, look, there she is, Azula. For the love of God, okay. Yeah, and I think she looks cool. I see some people saying that she looks like pudgy, like her face is too round, and guys, they don't have to look exactly like the character in the animation. It doesn't have to look literally the exact same. Can we just be not unhinged? Like, Jesus Christ. Okay, here we have Commander Zhao. I don't know why. I can sense the insecurity just from this image, so I guess this is good casting. Iroh. This looks perfect. I love the way this guy looks. He already looks warm and comforting and loving. And then here we have Zuko. Not gonna lie, I do wish the scar was more pronounced. The scar, I feel like the scar should be like wrapping more around the side of his head. But I mean, yeah, the actor looks good, I guess. That haircut, I knew that haircut wasn't gonna like translate super well into live action, where it's like it just looks like he only has hair, like one patch of hair on his head that's really long. I don't know. The dumb haircut, but it was also dumb in the cartoon, so I guess it looks good. But yeah, I think these look good. I will say, just what's just kind of an interesting thing to note, these, and obviously these are in the Fire Nation or whatever, so I guess it makes sense that it would look, like the lighting would look kind of dark and gray, but this looks more like like it's trying to be a drama. You know, this looks like it's trying to be more of a Game of Thrones than sort of the more exciting and bubbly sort of children's cartoon that Avatar: The Last Airbender was. I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. I think it does seem like maybe this sort of goes to why the original creators left the show, is that Netflix wants this to be a Game of Thrones. They want this to be their next Witcher. They want this to be sort of event series television, whereas, and I think that it might be more dramatic maybe than the cartoon, but I don't know, that's obviously way too much to gather just from images, but that's just kind of the vibe that those images tell me. So yeah, let me know what you think about them in the comments down below. All right, it looks like Deadpool 3 is going to be delayed. It's coming from Deadline. In one of the first major blows to the 2024 theatrical release schedule due to the ongoing actors' strike, sources tell us that Marvel Studios' Deadpool 3 won't be making its May 3rd start of summer theatrical release date. Even if the strike ends in the next few weeks, a 2024 restart on the half-finished Deadpool 3 would not get the threequel to a May opening date. There's just too much to do in regards to reassembling crew, etc. There is a long shot, per sources, that Captain America Brave New World, which originally was set for May 3rd and then was pushed to July 26, actually moves back because it's in better shape than Deadpool 3, having finished production. So, yeah, it seems like Deadpool 3 very well might be delayed. This isn't surprising, unfortunately. The actor strikes are still very much ongoing. We reported last week that the negotiations completely broke down. The SAG-AFTRA and the AMPTP just have disagreements that they are seemingly not, either side isn't wanting to budge on. So yeah, this is the first of many movies to get delayed, I imagine. Yeah, I mean, if Captain America Brave New World is finished production, then again, it does make sense for it to go back to that date. I think the big question is that movie good? Because we're going to talk about the Marvels later, but just the MCU in general, not in the best place right now, and Deadpool 3 very, very much is, in my opinion, a guaranteed success because of the hype around Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds coming back to Deadpool, and it being that sort of guaranteed success, all the hype around it, and if it's good, then I do think that could be sort of just an adrenaline pump into the MCU that it very desperately needs right now. I think the problem with Captain America Brave New World is that, you know, it's Anthony Mackie as Captain America. It's not Chris Evans. It's coming off of I would say a mixed Falcon and the Winter Soldier as far as the reception goes. I actually really love Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but the reception was mixed, to be fair, so there's not as much hype for a Captain America Brave New World, and I don't know that it will be the sort of adrenaline pump that the MCU kind of needs right now. But hey, if Captain America Brave New World is a fantastic movie, then even if it doesn't do as well as at the box office, that word of mouth of it being really good would definitely help the MCU. So yeah, definitely unfortunate that Deadpool 3 is getting delayed. I think the MCU kind of needs this movie, but we will see what other movies end up following this in suit. All right, next story. Gargoyles has a new Disney Plus show in development. This is coming from The Hollywood Reporter. Gary Dalberman and James Wan's Atomic Monster banner have teamed up to remake the 1990s cartoon as a live-action series for Disney Plus. Dauberman will write, executive produce, and showrun the series with Atomic Monster, joining the executive producing ranks. The project is described as being in early development at Disney-branded television. So yeah, I don't know anything really about Gargoyles. I know that it is a bit of a cult hit franchise, or show, I should say, where it has a really passionate a group of fan base. So I don't know. I from things that I've heard about it, it does sound interesting. Apparently it's like sort of Shakespearean in the dialogue and whatnot, and I don't know. It sounds like something that could probably work well in live action. Again, I just Disney Plus doesn't give me a huge vote of confidence as far as their track record is concerned. Like when I think of a Disney Plus show, I think of mid to terrible. So they really do have to just work as far as me having any semblance of faith in a Disney Plus show that isn't a Marvel or a Star Wars show. And even if it is a Marvel or a Star Wars show, that's not exactly that much more faith that I'm going to have in it. So I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. Hopefully it's great. All right, next story. Gen V has been renewed for season 2. I have watched 3 episodes of Gen V. I am very much behind. I decided to start making reaction videos, and it takes a while to edit, and I am behind. I very well may stop doing them, but I don't want to. See if I can catch up on all these shows. Like I still have to finish Ahsoka episode 8. I haven't even started watching Loki. Anyways, you don't care about that. Gen V season 2. I really like what I've seen so far. I've seen the first 3 episodes. I think it's a great show, and I'm glad that it's successful enough to garner a season 2. Again, though, I will just say, I find maybe I'm always just going to be worried about the boys becoming everything that they criticize in regards to the superhero genre, and just growing a bit too much and maybe becoming watered down a bit. But so far, it hasn't happened. I like the boys. I like the boys Diabolical, and I really like Gen V. So, yeah, let's see what they are cooking. Who let them cook? Amazon did. Next story. GTA is apparently coming to Netflix. It's coming from Video Games Chronicle. Netflix is reportedly interested in adding a Grand Theft Auto game to its subscription service. That's according to a Wall Street Journal report, which claims the streaming giant wants to take a page out of its Hollywood playbook by licensing major third-party properties to complement its burgeoning first-party catalog. So yeah, I've been very interested in Netflix's gaming pursuits. I've been covering it a lot just because I don't know, I find Netflix gaming to be interesting, and I think it can work, and I think it can be really cool. And it seems like with them getting a GTA game, or multiple GTA games, who knows, it seems like they're probably going to be pretty persistent as far as not just doing mobile gaming with Netflix, but doing streaming. Although I guess they could also license like some of the older GTA games that you can play on a mobile device. But I'm hoping this is just like, hey, you can stream GTA 5 on Netflix. And you just grab a controller and connect it to like your Chromecast or your computer, and you can just stream GTA 5. And I don't know, like whereas Google Stadia failed, Netflix has a massive subscriber base, and I don't know. I think this could be cool. I want to see it work out. So I'm gonna keep covering it, and hopefully we get some cool stuff. Okay. Next story: MCU might get a reboot. It's come from the Comic Book Reporter, or CBR Comic Book. Not VGC. I don't know why I put that there. Anyways, typos all over the place. Joanna Robinson, author of the new Marvel book MCU: The Reign of Marvel Studios, recently shared that Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige intends to reboot the Marvel Cinematic Universe with the upcoming movie Avengers: Secret Wars. We have a quote from Kevin Feige sort of implying that, like Secret Wars, will serve as a soft reboot in which they can prune everything, Robinson said during an appearance on the Watch podcast. Via Screen Rant, that's not, to use a Loki-ism, They'll prune everything that's not working and just keep what is working, or bring back people you thought were gone forever. So, yeah, there's this new book called MCU: The Reign of Marvel Studios, where a bunch of stories are dropping from that. I think we'll have another one to talk about later in the show. And yeah, she's basically saying that that Secret Wars might end up being a soft reboot of the MCU. And is this a good idea? I don't know. To me, it feels a little lazy. Like, I don't think that the MCU is in such bad of a state that it's like unsalvageable. Because the thing is that, you know, when we look at some of the lesser projects, it's like we have something like Moon Knight. Moon Knight wasn't very good, but Oscar Isaacs was fantastic in it. And if you were to come back with a Moon Knight season 2 and just make it good, that absolutely can still work. You know, She-Hulk wasn't particularly good, but Tatiana Maslany was pretty good as Jennifer Walters, and I don't hate that character. So if you make a She-Hulk season 2 and it's good, that could still work. Like, I don't think that the characters that they have are necessarily not... I don't think that they're doomed to fail. So I don't know that you necessarily have to do like the most desperate thing in the world and like have Secret Wars reboot everything and you desperately bring back Captain America and Iron Man and God forbid bring back Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans. Like, I don't think you necessarily have to do that. So I don't know. But obviously, like, when it comes to Secret Wars, it might also be advisable to not necessarily bring back Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr., but, you know, Captain America and Iron Man are tentpole characters and kind of important to have around the MCU. Maybe you just want to bring back recasted versions of those characters. So, I don't know. It could work. It also could be even more of a disaster. At the end of the day, I don't want it to be like a Band-Aid over the wound. In order to cure the disease, you just have to make good movies and TV shows. That's it, really. Like, that's just bringing back old characters isn't gonna fix anything. It's the quality that needs to improve. So, I guess that's the ultimate thing I'll leave this topic with. Next story. It looks like Kraven was going to initially be in No Way Home. It's come from CBR. Spider-Man No Way Home writers Chris McKenna and Eric Summers reveal the reason as to why Kraven the Hunter wasn't among the Marvel Cinematic Universe film's villains. Per the MCU: The Reign of Marvel Studios book, McKenna and Summers avowed that while they wanted to use Kraven, their plans were halted upon being told that Kraven was unavailable until Sony established him in a solo movie. And this is just really lame. What is the point of you guys shoving down the multiverse down our throats if you're not even allowed to use different variants in different movies? Do you, like, Sony, you were going to make a terrible Kraven the Hunter movie. We get it. It's not going to, like, help it or hurt it if the MCU does a Kraven first. Like, it would have been fine. Because, honestly, one of my complaints about No Way Home was that Tom Holland didn't get to establish another villain. You know, he was just using leftover villains from the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield movies. I think it would have been really cool if Kraven the Hunter variant that, you know, wouldn't have been in any of those movies, could have served as that movie's main villain and really been Tom Holland's antagonist. And yeah, it's just really lame that Sony have been like, we need to do our Aaron Taylor Johnson bullshit first. Blah. So, I don't know, kind of sucks, kind of lame. But, although I guess maybe their decision would have been, because maybe Aaron Taylor Johnson Kraven is going to be in the MCU. Although not even, no, because even in No Way Home, they established that the Venomverse isn't in the MCU. So never mind, you can't even use that excuse. If you're going to shove the multiverse down our throats, at least let Marvel use different variants of the villains, okay? Stop being lame, Sony. You have posted cringe. Next story. Okay, kind of maybe vaguely a spoiler alert for the Marvels. There was a teaser that recently came out that teases a cameo, so we're going to theorize about what that cameo might be. So if you don't want to know, skip ahead. There are, of course, timestamps in the description and in the comments section. All right, 3, 2, 1, I'm going to reveal it. 3, 2, 1, now. So in the teaser, it ends with the Bifrost. Somebody is coming to Captain Marvel's ship. I believe she also says something to the effect of, I know a friend that can help us. And so there's obviously teasing Thor. I mean, Bifrost, Thor, makes sense. Other characters that it might be, it could also be Valkyrie. You know, Valkyrie is the queen of Asgard or whatever, or king of Asgard. I forgot what they exactly called her. So she would definitely have access to the Bifrost. Maybe like somebody like Lady Sif. I think she's still alive, right? Maybe Lady Sif. Jane is kind of dead. I think she's in Valhalla. I don't know if, because there was that post-credit scene. I'm not really sure if that was like a send-off of her being in Valhalla or if that was a tease of her coming back. The Heimdall is dead, but it's, of course, the Marvel fake death universe. And if I remember the rules correctly, technically Heimdall had, like, the power of the Bifrost, right? Like, I don't even... Like, have we ever even seen anybody else use the Bifrost? I honestly don't know. So, it's very interesting. Somebody related to Thor is showing up. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see in the Marvels. All right, next story. Still sticking with the Marvels. We have an update on the box office. It's come from The Hollywood Reporter. Female-fronted The Marvels is tracking to open in the $75 to $80 million range in the latest test of box office superhero fatigue. It launches November 10th. Tracking for The Marvels varies widely depending upon the research firm. NRG has it at $72 to $88 million, while the Quorum thinks $80 million to $90 million. The last title from Marvel Studios that didn't open to $70 million or more was Ant-Man in 2015. The majority of MCU movies have opened to $100 million or more domestically, with 8 movies coming in at $150 million or higher. So we have some updated numbers for the Marvels. Last week we talked about it potentially opening to as low as $50 million, which would have been really bad. 70 to 80, that's not terrible, but as we saw in comparison to the rest of the MCU, it's also not great, especially considering the first movie opened up to like $150 million and it went on to make $1 billion at the box office. So why is this one opening lower? Well, I think there are a lot of factors at play. I think first you have to talk about superhero fatigue, more specifically mediocre superhero fatigue. I think we're definitely at a point where comic book movies obviously aren't dead, but you either need the nostalgia, right, with Spider-Man No Way Home and what I think we're going to see with Deadpool 3, or you need to make quality films that look good, right? I don't think it's a coincidence that Robert Pattinson's The Batman, even in the midst of DC just completely shitting the bed at the box office, I don't think it's a coincidence that Robert Pattinson's Batman, they put out fucking fantastic trailers for that, and the movie ended up being fantastic, and it ended up being successful at like $750 million, I think, and which is like way better than the rest of the current DC slate. I think the other thing about it, and then I should say that the trailers for the Marvels just haven't been particularly good. I actually think that the movie looks pretty fun. But, like, if you're someone that's kind of sick of Marvel and you don't really want to watch mediocre Marvel movies anymore, the trailers wouldn't have convinced you, and I can totally understand that. But I think the other thing that you know, you kind of have to acknowledge is that the actor strike is still going on. So Brie Larson and Aman Vellani and Teyonah Parris, they're not allowed to go onto talk shows and promote the movie and whatnot. I think it's especially not great that Iman Vellani can't go out on talk shows, because she's very charming, and I think she would probably endear a lot of people to the movie. So I think there are a lot of things that are contributing to this. I think at the end of the day, though, it's not the end of the world. Like, the first movie made $1 billion. You don't have to make $1 billion to be successful. If this movie is good, if this movie is fun, if it gets good word of mouth, I do think it can pick up a decent box office run. And I think it does look fun. I'm especially excited about Miss Marvel. I think Iman Vellani. I've said this before, and I don't think literally anybody else holds this opinion, but I do genuinely believe it. I think Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan is the best casting in the MCU since Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. She is so utterly perfect in this role, so I'm really excited to see her. And not a ton of people watched Miss Marvel. I think she's going to become a star. I think she's going to steal this movie. So and again, if the movie around her is fun and it's good, I think it could probably do a decent run, probably more post $700 million, which wouldn't be great. Would obviously be a far cry from the $1 billion that they made in the first one. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. And again, the MCU is also just at a place right now where they have to build up the momentum again. They have to start making quality movies, and hopefully this is the start of that, although who really knows. Okay. Last story of the day. Wonder Man. Do you remember that show? Apparently it's canceled. It's coming from CBR. I don't know why I keep on putting Video Games Chronicle here. It's not Video Games Chronicle. Sorry. Joanna Robinson, author of the new Marvel book MCU, The Reign of Marvel Studios, recently mentioned that she'd heard whispers that Marvel Studios is scrapping its upcoming Disney Plus series, Wonder Man. During an interview on the Watch podcast, Robinson said that she has heard that they're trashing the Wonder Man project. So yeah, this is again from that book. He recently came back and just scrapped Daredevil Born Again and decided to reboot it. If this Wonder Man project is bad, which I wouldn't be surprised if it is it worth scrapping it and rebooting it? That would be the case for Daredevil, but wouldn't really be the case for Wonder Man because this is very much an unknown IP. So this wouldn't surprise me. And again, if it is as bad as it is, I think it would actually be pretty admirable to scrap it. I know people freak out when things like this happen, like with the Batgirl situation, but when you're looking at franchises like the DCEU and the MCU, I'm sorry, like, I get it, the artists worked hard on it and whatever, but like, you have to worry about the reputation of your brand. And if it's bad, then this is just the right move. So yeah, we'll see what comes of that though. All right, last segment of the day. Let's get into what I've been watching. I've only watched one movie. I've only watched one thing this week. The Equalizer 2. Randomly, I decided to pop it on. It's okay. It's just kind of a generic action movie. Denzel Washington, he's great. Like, he's good in the movie. But the movie itself is it's good. Like, it's fine. If you want just like a generic action movie, maybe your dad is with you. You pop it on and watch it with your dad. It's kind of a dad movie, I feel like. I think my one major complaint about it is just that I feel like Denzel Washington's character, he might have been a little too good in this movie. He might be a little bit too OP. Like, he doesn't really struggle in this movie. Like, he's very much just like running through virtually everybody that he comes across. And it's like, that is kind of cool to a certain extent, but you very rarely see him struggle in this movie. In the first Equalizer, like, there are guys that definitely gave him like a fight, and whatnot, and you saw like side characters saving his life and all that. That just doesn't happen here. So I don't know. Overall, it's an okay movie. I enjoyed it. Denzel Washington's good. but nothing to write home about. And yeah, that is going to be it for this episode of Nerdy Movie News Roundup. Let me know if you thought about any or all of the stories that we talked about today. And I don't know, go call your mom. Tell her that you love her. It's always a good thing to do. And leave me alone. Bye.